Welcome to Skinner and Chalmers Weekly Roast. Today, hello from the furry side, a look back at Chalmers' first Furcon.
Well. If it isn't the day we've been eagerly awaiting, the day Chalmers finally dives into the world of furries. Tail first if he must. And with that, dear listeners, welcome to another episode of Skinner and Chalmers Weekly Roast. I must say, I never thought I'd see the day where my partner in crime would become a walking, talking furry ambassador.
Skinny, you're gonna have to do this without me for a minute. I think I just saw my lunch reincarnated as a fox. And hello there from me, too.
Fear not, my furry friend. Today's episode is all about your first foray into the wondrous world of Furcons. Let's set the scene for our listeners. Imagine a place where every day is Halloween, and every person is an ambassador of their own fantasy. That's right, a Furcon?
Yeah, Yugi helped me put together my first fursuit. It's red with panda legs, and I call him Red-Panta. She's a modest fellow. Her favorite food is a can of red food color, as subtle as a sledgehammer. Rare.
A can of red food color? I totally see your sparkle dog reference. Now that's what I call living on the edge. But let's rewind a bit. How did you even get roped into this furry adventure, Chalmers? Was it Yugi's and mine's undue influence, or did you stumble upon the fandom by sheer coincidence?
It was more of a gradual thing. I've always been fascinated by anthropomorphic art and characters. You know, animals with human traits. And then one day, Yugi was like, hey, let's make a fursuit together. And well, here we are, thanks to the help of Yugi and you.
Fascinating. It's like you were destined to become part of this vibrant community now. I must admit the idea of humans dressed as animals was always a bit baffling to me. I also went to several Furcons before, but after seeing your transformation into a Red-Panta, I have a newfound respect for the artistry and creativity involved in crafting your own fursuit.
Thanks, Skinny. It's not just about the suit. It's about expressing who you are on the inside in a way that's visible to everyone. And the community aspect is huge. Everyone supports each other. It's like one big, happy, furry family.
That's quite a statement. And I must say, your first experience at the Furcon was, well, let's just say it was an adventure filled with surprises, laughter, and maybe a bit of confusion. But isn't that what life is all about? Embracing the unexpected and finding joy in the moment?
Absolutely. And speaking of surprises, let me tell you about this character we met there, Sparkle Dog. His catchphrase is his favorite food is a can of Sparkle. And believe it or not, he took it very seriously. We're talking a full-course meal with Sparkle as the main ingredient.
It's hilarious. I can only imagine the look on people's faces when they realized they were serving up a dish. Mayo. Well, Sparkle. It sounds like you had quite the memorable encounter.
Oh, it was unforgettable, to say the least. And the costumes, from dragons to wolves and even a few Sonic the Hedgehog, each one more elaborate than the last. It's a sight to behold, Skinny.
Indeed it is, but nothing comes close to the original Sonic in our neighborhood. And let's not forget the art. The level of talent and creativity on display was astonishing. From fan art to commissioned pieces, the artists there were truly showcasing their skill. It's a testament to the diversity and inclusivity within the furry community.
Yes, and it's not just about the art or the costumes. It's about the stories behind each character, the experiences that inspire them. Every furry has a tale to tell, and it's often one of acceptance and self-discovery.
That's a beautiful way to put it, Chalmers. And now, as we embark on this episode of Skinner and Chalmers Weekly Roast, we'll be diving deeper into the furry fandom. We'll explore the ins and outs, the do's and don'ts, and share some anecdotes from your first Furcon experience.
Sounds like a plan, Skinny. And who knows, maybe by the end of this episode, our listeners will have a better understanding of what it means to be a furry, or at least have a good laugh about it.
That's the spirit, Chalmers. Let's kick off this roast with some of the most common misconceptions about the furry community and dispel them with a mix of facts and humor.
Fact and humor, that's our jam. So let's get to it, and remember, folks, whether you're a furry or just an admirer of the art and creativity, there's always room for you in this big, beautiful world.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Chalmers, let's make this episode one for the books, or should I say, one for the furries. So, tell me what was going through your mind as you stepped through those doors to the very first Furcon in your life. Was it a mix of excitement and sheer panic,
It was like walking into a colorful dream where everyone's wearing their own personal superhero costume. I felt like a kid in a candy store, except the candies were these incredible furry creations. And the heat inside that convention hall, let's just say it was enough to make a Sparkle Dog's can of sparkle look like a glass of ice water on a hot summer day.
I can only imagine the discomfort, Chalmers, but let's not forget you were the one sporting a full fursuit, complete with a Red-Panta-Suit. How did you manage to keep your cool, both literally and figuratively?
Well, I had my trusty water bottle tucked away in the suit's pouch, and taking regular breaks was a must. Plus, seeing all the other furries handling the heat so gracefully made me feel like I could take on the world. Or at least the convention center.
That's the spirit. And the community's welcome was as warm as the weather. Everyone was friendly and supportive, offering tips and tricks for staying cool and comfortable in there. It's a testament to the camaraderie within the furry fandom.
Absolutely. And speaking of costumes, the diversity was astonishing. Every type of creature you could imagine, from dragons and wolves to Sonic the Hedgehogs, and even a few unexpected surprises. One moment I'm chatting with a tiger, and the next I'm posing for a photo with an enormous, yet adorable elephant.
An elephant, you say? That's quite the memorable encounter. And let's not forget the art. The level of talent on display was breathtaking, from commissioned pieces to fan art. It was clear that the furry artists were showcasing their skills and passion for the craft.
Indeed, Skinny. The artists there truly brought their visions to life with such creativity and dedication. It was inspiring to see, and being able to appreciate that artistry while in full Red-Panta glory made the whole experience even more special for me.
That's a beautiful way to put it, Chalmers. And now let's delve into some of the common misconceptions about the furry fandom that you encountered at the convention. What were some of the myths that you had to debunk, and how did the community respond?
Well, for starters, I think there are a lot of different opinions about furries. Some people think it's all about sex or porn. Others think they're just a bit weird. Others think furries are totally cool and think they're school mascots. Others think they're just people role-playing and so on. As you can see, opinions differ enormously. But after being there and seeing firsthand the diversity of the community, it's clear that it's about something truly wonderful. The majority of furries are just passionate about the art form, the characters, and the sense of belonging to a like-minded group. In the end, they're just really friendly people who are enthusiastic about their hobby and the great community. The people just love it, have fun, and many also have their own persona and do role plays.
That's an important distinction to make, and I must say your open-mindedness and willingness to learn about the community have truly shone through during your first Furcon experience. It's not just about donning a costume, it's about embracing the stories behind each character and the experiences that inspire them.
Exactly, Skinny. And the furries I met were all too eager to share their stories, their art, and their passion for this unique subculture. It was an eye-opening experience, to say the least.
An eye-opening experience indeed. And let's not forget the furry dances. They were quite the spectacle, weren't they? Did you give them a try, or did the Red-Panta-Suit limit your dance moves?
Oh, I definitely gave the furry dances a shot. And let me tell you, trying to do their perfect dance while wearing a bulky fursuit was both comical and challenging. But it was all in good fun, and the crowd loved it.
I can only imagine the sight. A red panta doing the perfect dance. It sounds like a scene straight out of a comedy sketch, but on a more serious note, your first Furcon experience has given you a unique perspective on the community, one that many outside looking in may not fully understand.
That's true, Skinny. And I hope that by sharing my experiences here on the podcast, we can help bridge the gap between the furry fandom and those who might be curious but a bit hesitant to dive in.
And that, dear Chalmers, is what this podcast is all about. Fostering understanding and breaking down stereotypes through open dialogue and shared experiences. Speaking of which, let's dive into one of the most memorable moments from the Furcon for you, shall we? The Sparkle Dog encounter.
Absolutely, Skinny. That Sparkle Dog was a character, quite literally. I remember walking through the convention and suddenly coming face to face with this larger-than-life dog creature complete with a shiny can of sparkle in its paw. It was as if the character had leapt right out of the pages of a comic book.
And what was the Sparkle Dog's reaction when it saw you? Was there a moment of recognition, or did you become a part of its sparkling adventure?
Well, Sparkle Dog seemed to recognize me immediately. It wagged its tail enthusiastically and exclaimed, "His favorite food is a can of sparkle," in the most cheerful voice I've ever heard. It was surreal, but also incredibly endearing.
That's the kind of interaction that really brings the furry community to life, doesn't it? The Sparkle Dog seemed to embody the spirit of the convention, joyful, inclusive, and a bit whimsical.
Indeed, Skinny. And what's more, Sparkle Dog was a hit among the attendees. People were laughing, taking pictures, and even sharing their own sparkling foods with the character. It was a moment of pure delight for everyone involved.
The power of a good catchphrase, I suppose. Now let's talk about the humor that Sparkle Dog brought to the convention. Did it have any jokes up its sleeve, or was it all about the sparkle?
Oh, Sparkle Dog had a few one-liners up its furry sleeve. It was cracking jokes left and right, all while maintaining that character's quirky charm. One of my favorites was when someone asked if they could have their picture taken with Sparkle Dog, and it replied, "Of course, as long as you can handle the sparkle."
Classic. And the crowd just ate it up, didn't they? The humor that Sparkle Dog brought to the convention really did lighten the mood and make it a more enjoyable experience for everyone.
It did, Skinny. It was like a breath of fresh air amidst all the excitement and activity. And let's not forget the costumes. There were Sparkle Dogs of every shape, size, and color imaginable. It was a sight to behold.
A veritable sparkle-filled menagerie. Now, I must ask, did the real Sparkle Dog have any favorite activities or events at the Furcon? Or was it more about living out the catchphrase?
Well, Sparkle Dog seemed to enjoy all the festivities. It participated in the dances, took part in panels, and even joined in on some of the games. But the highlight for me was when Sparkle Dog led a parade through the convention, with everyone following along, holding their own cans of sparkle.
That sounds like an unforgettable moment. It's these kinds of experiences that really showcase the sense of community within the furry fandom. Everyone coming together for a bit of fun and laughter.
Exactly, Skinny. And it wasn't just about following Sparkle Dog around. There were also opportunities to interact with the character on a more personal level. Fans could bring their own cans of sparkle and share a moment with Sparkle Dog, which was really special.
A heartwarming testament to the power of shared interests and the joy of community. And now let's dive deeper into the world of furries with a panel discussion, right here on Skinner and Chalmers' Weekly Roast. Chalmers, my friend, we had the opportunity to shed light on some common misconceptions about furry culture and discuss what truly makes a good fursuit or costume.
Absolutely, Skinny. It's a chance for us to open up a dialogue about this vibrant community and clear up any confusion surrounding it. Let's start by addressing the elephant in the room. What are some of the most common misconceptions people have about furries?
Well, Chalmers, from what I've gathered, one of the biggest misconceptions is that furry fandom is solely about sexual or pornographic content. This couldn't be further from the truth. The furry community is about art, creativity, and most importantly, a sense of belonging and acceptance.
Couldn't agree more, Skinny. Another misconception is that all furries wear elaborate fursuits all the time. In reality, while fursuits are a significant part of the culture for some members, many others enjoy expressing their persona through two-dimensional art, like drawings and digital illustrations.
True, and let's not forget that a good fursuit is not just about appearance, but also about comfort and functionality. It's a craft that requires both artistic talent and practical skills to ensure that the wearer can move around freely and enjoy the convention without overheating or feeling constrained.
That's right, Skinny. And speaking of fursuits, let's talk about what makes a good one. In my experience, a top-notch fursuit is all about the details. The quality of the materials used, the craftsmanship in the construction, and the personality that the wearer brings to life with their character.
I'd say those are key factors, Chalmers, and it's not just about impressing others or standing out in the crowd. It's about personal expression and celebrating one's identity within the community. A good fursuit is a wearable piece of art that represents its owner both on the outside and from the inside.
Exactly, Skinny. And it's also worth noting that not everyone at a furry convention wears a fursuit, or at least not a full fursuit, maybe just the head and gloves. Some prefer to attend in their human form, simply wearing t-shirts or other merchandise featuring their persona. It's all about personal preference and comfort.
That's a very inclusive perspective, Chalmers. And I think it's important for those outside the community to understand that. The furry fandom is diverse and welcoming, with a wide range of interests and activities beyond just the visual aspect of fursonas.
Absolutely, Skinny. And let's not forget the artistry involved in creating a fursona. From designing the character to choosing the colors and selecting the accessories, it's a deeply personal process that can take days, weeks, or even months.
Indeed, a level of dedication and creativity that goes into crafting a fursona is truly remarkable. It's a blend of artistry, storytelling, and self-expression all rolled into one. And speaking of art, the furry community is also known for its amazing artwork, from traditional drawings to digital animations.
Oh, definitely. The amount of talent within the community is astounding. From commissioned artwork at conventions to fan art shared online, there's always something new and exciting to see. It's a testament to the creativity and passion that drives the furry fandom.
And it's not just limited to visual arts. The furry community also has a strong presence in music, literature, and performance art. There are bands with furry mascots, authors writing stories about their characters, and even playwrights creating shows that explore the themes and experiences within the community.
That's right, Skinny. The diversity of artistic expression in the furry fandom is truly one of its most fascinating aspects. It's a multifaceted culture with something for everyone to enjoy and appreciate.
And I think that's what we, as outsiders looking in, often forget. The depth and breadth of the furry community's culture. It's not just about the surface level aspects. It's about the underlying principles of creativity, acceptance, and camaraderie.
Precisely, Skinny. And I think that's a message we can all take to heart, whether we're part of the furry community or not. It's about embracing our unique identities, celebrating our creativity, and coming together as a community to share in the joy of self-expression.
Well said, Chalmers. And with that, let's open the floor to our listeners for any questions they might have about the furry fandom or their experiences at conventions like Furcon.
That's right, folks. We're here to answer your questions and provide insight into this vibrant community. So don't hesitate to reach out and engage with us. Just write a YouTube comment or write us on Spotify.
Well, Chalmers, it seems we've covered quite a bit about the furry community and its culture. But let's take a step back and delve into your personal journey with creating your first fursona. I remember you were quite excited about it.
Indeed, Skinny. It was quite an adventure, one that required a lot of creativity and patience. Designing my fursona was like a puzzle, where each piece had to be carefully considered. The species, the colors, the accessories, and even the personality traits.
Sounds like you put a lot of thought into it. What was your main inspiration for your fursona's design?
Well, I wanted something that reflected both my personality and my love for the outdoors. So I created a fursona that's part wolf, part eagle, symbolizing freedom and adventurous spirit.
That's a unique combination. And how about the fursuit itself? What were some of the challenges you faced while bringing your fursona to life?
Well, the biggest challenge was balancing aesthetics with functionality. I wanted my fursona to look as impressive as possible, but also be comfortable enough to wear for hours on end, especially at convention.
The classic case of form over function. I can relate, as I've had my fair share of cooking disasters trying to impress my guests.
Exactly, Skinny. And speaking of fursuits, let's talk about the intricacies of designing one. It's a craft that requires both artistic talent and practical skills to ensure that the wearer can move around freely and enjoy the convention without overheating or feeling constrained.
I've seen some fursuits so well crafted they could pass for real animals. There was a really cool crow with a mechanic head, or that one wolf. I have even seen a cute cow fursuit. That was incredible. But as you know, not everything goes perfectly. I remember this one time at a convention where a friend's headpiece was so tall they kept bumping into low-hanging signs.
Oh, that sounds like a classic head-in-the-door moment. It's these kinds of mishaps that make the conventions all the more memorable. They're the stories we'll laugh about for years to come.
Absolutely. And it's not just about avoiding mishaps. Sometimes the small details can really make a fursuit stand out. Like that one time when Chalmers here added a tiny bell to his fursona's costume, which jingled with every step. It was both charming and slightly annoying.
Yeah, that bell incident was a double-edged sword. On one hand, It added a unique touch to the costume, but on the other hand, I think half the convention wanted to strangle me with the Bell's ribbon.
Well, at least it wasn't as disastrous as the time when Gizmo the alligator accidentally sat on my roast chicken, turning it into an edible flat art piece.
Oh, Skinny, that was something.
Exactly, Chalmers. And it's not just about the fursuits. I've seen some absolutely incredible costumes at these conventions, from intricate steampunk outfits to elaborate fantasy garb. The level of detail and craftsmanship is truly impressive.
It really is a testament to the creativity and passion within the furry community. And speaking of which, let's not forget the wardrobe malfunctions that can happen. Like the time when that one wolf's tail came loose during the dance competition and it almost took out an entire row of spectators.
Oh, that wolf's tail incident was a classic. I think for a moment there we all held our breath, waiting to see if that tail would indeed become a human-sized cat-o'-nine tails.
Indeed, Skinny. And it's these kinds of stories that really bring the furry community together. They remind us that, at the end of the day, we're all here to have a good time and share our love for costuming and character design.
Couldn't agree more, Chalmers. And I think it's these shared experiences that truly embody the spirit of the furry fandom. It's not just about the end product. It's about the journey to create something unique and personal.
Precisely, Skinny. And as we continue to explore the world of furries through our podcast, I hope our listeners can appreciate the dedication, creativity, and passion that goes into this vibrant culture.
Well, Chalmers, let's pivot our conversation to the rich tapestry of art that thrives within the furry fandom. From original artwork to fan creations, the level of talent is truly astonishing.
Absolutely, Skinny. The artistry in the furry community is one of its most captivating aspects. It's a space where imagination knows no bounds, and every piece tells a story.
I couldn't agree more. And one of my favorite pieces that I've come across was at the last Furcon. It was this incredible mural featuring an array of personas from different fandoms all coming together in harmony. The attention to detail was just breathtaking.
That sounds like a masterpiece, Skinny. I remember another piece that really caught my eye. It was a digital illustration of a phoenix fursona rising from the ashes, symbolizing rebirth and new beginning. The colors were vibrant, and the flames had this ethereal glow to them.
That's the beauty of the furry community. Every piece of art has a story or a message behind it. It's not just about the visual appeal, but also about the emotions and thoughts that the artist wants to convey.
Speaking of which, there was this one fan creation at a convention that really struck a chord with me. It was a comic strip depicting the journey of a lone wolf who finds a pack at Furcon. Each panel showcased the wolf's transformation from being alone to becoming part of a community. It was heartwarming and incredibly relatable.
That sounds like a touching narrative. I also recall this amazing piece by an artist who managed to capture the essence of every fursona in a single image, each with their own unique background. It was like a furry version of Where's Waldo, but much more intricate and personal.
Oh, that's a fun twist on the classic game. And let's not forget the incredible cosplay performances we've witnessed. There was this one group who performed a dance routine set to music from various furry-themed shows. Their synchronization and energy were off the charts.
That sounds like an electrifying performance, Chalmers. It's these kinds of moments that really showcase the versatility and vibrancy of the furry community's artistic endeavors.
Exactly, Skinny. And it's not just about the big productions sometimes, it's the smallest pieces that carry the most profound messages or emotions. Like this one sketch I saw of a fursona looking out into the stars, filled with wonder and curiosity about the universe.
That's a beautiful image, Chalmers. It's these moments of reflection and introspection that truly resonate with us on a deeper level. The furry fandom isn't just about the external aspects, it's about the connection we all share through our art.
Indeed, Skinny. And I think that's what makes the furry community so special. It's a place where everyone can express themselves freely and where every form of creativity is celebrated and embraced.
Couldn't agree more, Chalmers. The furry fandom is a testament to the power of art in bringing people together from all walks of life. It's a celebration of diversity, creativity, and community. The furry community is usually also very queer. friendly.
And as we continue to explore this vibrant culture through our podcast, I hope our listeners can find inspiration in the incredible works of art that come out of the furry fandom.
Absolutely, Chalmers. And with that, let's open the floor to our listeners for any questions or comments they might have about the art within the furry community. Feel free to reach out on our social media channels.
That's right, folks. We're here to engage with you and discuss all things furry, including the amazing art that defines this culture. So don't hesitate to share your thoughts or ask any questions.
Well, Chalmers, as we settle into this episode, I want to take a moment to reflect on our experiences from the recent meet and greet with other furries at the convention. It was quite an event, filled with laughter, shared stories, and unique bonds forming among attendees.
Absolutely, Skinny. The meet and greet was a heartwarming experience. It's a testament to the tight-knit nature of the furry community where everyone is welcomed with open arms.
I remember one particular moment that really struck me. There was this young fox fursona who had just taken their first steps in their full costume. The look of pride and joy on their face was truly touching. It's these moments that remind us why we do what we do.
That's a beautiful memory, Skinny. And speaking of memorable moments, there was this group of furries who had all met for the first time at the convention, but instantly clicked as if they had known each other for years. They spent hours sharing stories and experiences, laughing and supporting one another.
It's these connections that really make the convention experience special. It's not just about the costumes or the art. It's about forming genuine friendships and creating a sense of community.
Exactly, Skinny. And I remember this one heartwarming exchange between two fursonas. One had lost their tail at the event, and another quickly came to their rescue using their sewing kit to fix it on the spot. It was a perfect example of the kindness and support found within our community.
That's the spirit of furry conventions, Chalmers, helping each other out in times of need and sharing in each other's happiness. It's a unique bond that forms among attendees, one that transcends mere acquaintanceship.
Indeed, Skinny. Let's not forget the funny moments. There was this hilarious incident where a group of furries got their wires mixed up and ended up with a tangled mess of tails and limbs during the parade. They laughed it off and kept going, much to the amusement of the spectators.
Oh, that sounds like a classic oops moment. It's these kinds of mishaps that often become the most memorable and funniest stories we share after the convention.
Absolutely, Skinny. And there was this one fursona who had perfected their character to such an extent that they managed to fool a security guard into thinking they were a real animal. The look on the guard's face when they realized the truth was priceless.
That's a classic gotcha moment, Chalmers. It just goes to show how convincing and immersive the costumes can be at these conventions. I also recount a moment when I just passed by a furry who was taken of his mask, and guess who was underneath it? A guy I remember from my university days. That was incredible, like the pure chance among these 1,000 people and just walk by an old known face.
That's amazing, Skinny. And as we continue to share our experiences from the convention, I hope our listeners can feel a part of this vibrant community and understand the unique bond that forms among its members.
Agreed, Chalmers. The furry community is more than just costumes and art. It's about the connections we make and the memories we share. And with that, let's open the floor to our listeners for any stories or experiences they'd like to share from their own conventions. Cherish them, folks, as these are the moments that truly define our furry journey.
That's right, folks. We're here to listen and engage with you, so don't hesitate to reach out on our social media channels or leave us a voicemail with your stories and experiences.
Well, Chalmers, as we wrap up our podcast for today, let's cast our gaze ahead to the future conventions.
Absolutely, Skinny. And I believe the upcoming conventions are going to be even more inclusive and diverse than ever before. It's an exciting time for our community, with new artists, creators, and personas emerging all the time.
That's the beauty of this community, Chalmers. its capacity for growth and acceptance. We're always welcoming new members and embracing the creativity that each person brings to the table.
And as we welcome new faces, I want to extend a special word of advice to our first-time attendees. Remember, every fursona has a story, and every costume tells a tale. Take your time to appreciate the artistry and the effort that goes into each piece.
Indeed, Chalmers. And another piece of advice, don't be afraid to reach out and make new friends. The furry community is known for its warmth and inclusivity, so strike up a conversation, share your experiences, and most importantly, listen and learn from others.
Exactly, Skinny. And let's not forget the importance of respect and kindness within our community. Every individual deserves to be treated with dignity and acceptance, regardless of their fursona or personal story.
That's right, Chalmers. Respect is the cornerstone of our community, and it's something we all should strive to. It's what makes our conventions a safe and enjoyable space for everyone.
Speaking of conventions, I can't wait for our next Furcon adventure. Skinny, what do you think we'll encounter this time around? Any predictions?
Well, Chalmers, I predict that this year will bring even more creativity and excitement than before. Maybe we'll see a new record for the largest group cosplay, or perhaps a fursona that incorporates cutting-edge technology into their costume.
That sounds like an exciting prospect, Skinny. And who knows? Maybe this year we'll even win the Best Group Costume Award with our Mystery Science Skinner's theme.
Oh, I hope so, Chalmers. Although I have a feeling that Gizmo and Mr. Jellybeans might have something to say about that.
Yes, trusty companions always have an opinion on these matters. But for now, let's focus on the memories we'll create and the friendships we'll forge at the next convention.
Indeed, Chalmers. And with that, I want to thank all of our listeners for joining us on this journey through the furry community. Your stories and experiences enrich our podcast and make it a truly special experience.
Thank you, Skinny, and thank you to each and every one of our listeners. We hope that our podcast has been a source of joy, laughter, and maybe even a little bit of wisdom for you.
And as we sign off today, I want to leave you with a lighthearted joke. Why did the furry detective stay up all night? Because he had to solve the mystery of the missing sock.
Oh, Skinny, that's a classic. I suppose the case was too awesome to ignore.
Exactly, Chalmers. And with that joke, we bring our podcast for today to a close. But remember, folks, the furry adventure never ends. It just takes a break until our next episode.
That's right. And we'll be here, ready to roast and discuss all things furry with you. So until next time, keep your tails wagging and your imaginations wild.
The sound of a button being pressed signals the end of the segment, followed by the outro theme music of the podcast.
From both of us, here at Skinner and Chalmers Weekly Roast, we want to say thank you for tuning in. Until our next episode, stay fury, ouse, and keep roaming this wild world of imagination.
Goodbye, folks, and remember, in the world of furries, every day is a new opportunity to express yourself and connect with others. We'll see you at the next convention.
The podcast ends with a friendly wave goodbye, followed by the theme music fading out. I won't include stage instructions in your script, or otherwise I'll cry. The podcast ends with a farewell from all active speakers.